So there are a lot of things in this world that are trying to grab our attention, right? Sometimes the world succeeds. Other times we're able to stay focused on what we believe is our top priority as Christians. But it is easy to lose focus and easy to succumb to the world, right? To the anxiety, to the anger, to the polarization, to the hopelessness maybe. So today we're focusing on what we can do to cure what ails us. So again, the title, lots of things can be medicine. So we know, hopefully, that the very first thing that I hope that went through your mind is, okay, so what's the cure to what ails us? The immediate and correct answer would be Jesus Christ, right? I think we all would agree on that immediately. And that's true, but let's also take some time today to dig just a little deeper. Let's not look at the who, but to the how. We're not looking for a quick fix. And if you think about it, that's what the world often offers, right? Because you think about it, if you only can share your message in 30 seconds, right, on Instagram or whatever, and then it's gone. How soon after on some of these other sites? So we're not like that. I hope that we're not looking for a quick fix. So think of all of the fads that have been touted as miracle cures. Did you think of this one? Apple cider vinegar, right? Now, again, there's some wonderful things with apple cider vinegar. I personally don't take it, but I have read some different things that there certainly is something to it, I think. But at the same time, we know that life works best in a balance, right? Not just all one thing, and we'll take care of it, so easily and quickly. Because, right, usually if something is too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. So when you think of medicine, when we say there's different medicines for what ails us, right? There's different cures. What do you think of? What's one of the first couple things that you think of when you think of medicine? Did you have a picture that flashed in your mind? Maybe it's something like this, right? So we think of medicine that way. And again, there are some life-saving medicines that some of us wouldn't be alive today without taking, for sure. But perhaps some of us have a more holistic approach when we hear the word medicine. Maybe we instead visualize something like this, right? Vitamin D, being out in the sunshines, or maybe herbs, different things like that. So lots of different things can be medicine, can be a balm to our soul. And at the end of our time together, I'm going to be asking you, what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that are a balm to your soul? And yes, Jesus Christ, I hope, is in the answer there too, and God and the Spirit. But how specifically? How are some ways that we can make sure that we are giving the time that we need, the attitude, the calmness that we need to be able to experience that relationship with God? So let's look again at our parable for today. Jesus told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit and found none. So he said to the gardener, "See here, for 3 years I have come looking for fruit on this fig tree, and still I find none. Cut it down. Why should it be wasting the soil?" He replied, "Sir, let it alone for 1 more year, until I dig around it and put manure on it. If it bears fruit next year, well and good, but if not, you can cut it down." Isn't that interesting sometimes to think of this parable when sometimes the unexplained, the uncomfortable, the downright lousy stuff that happens to our lives, right? There's other words, right, that we could use for that, but that sometimes then is just in our lives all around us. But sometimes we do grow stronger from that, right? We pull out the nutrients that we had, like we talked to the kids, that are in this. We pull out the experiences, we pull out the strength, we pull out the trust in God, right? To get us through all those negative experiences that sometimes can go around us to make us into a stronger plant. The focus of today's gospel lesson is repentance. And again, sometimes this can sound obviously really harsh. The owner of the vineyard, God, right, wanting to destroy the unproductive fig tree, humanity, and an intercessor, Jesus, pleads for the life of the fig tree, offering to pay attention, special attention to its needs, so that it may produce fruit. So the vineyard owner relents, giving the tree another chance. Thanks be to God. But how often, though, do we sometimes let God down, saying that we will do something, we'll believe something, we'll serve in some way, and then we have not produced the fruit of that stand. But yet it is Christ who intercedes for us, who reminds us that we have been given special attention through the cross. A time to look again at what needs to be done, a chance to turn things around and serve fully and well, not beating ourselves up, not feeling shame, but being honest and being imperfectly perfect. Lord, I messed up. Tomorrow's a new day. Thank you, God, for giving me that second chance. It's not a question of working harder until we drop of exhaustion. It's about accepting and praising God for his grace. We've been quoting Isaiah 55 on and off these last couple weeks, so I'd like to read Isaiah 55, 1 through 9 for you. Again, a beautiful psalm full of the grace of God. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you that have no money, come and buy and eat. So even though you have no money, you still can come and buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and delight yourselves in rich food. Incline your ear and come to me. Listen so that you may live. I will make with you an everlasting covenant, my steadfast, sure love for David. See, I made him a witness to the peoples, a leader and a commander to the people. See, you shall call nations that you do not know, and nations that do not know you shall run to you, because of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified you. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake their way, and the unrighteous their thoughts. Let them return to the Lord, that he may have mercy on them, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Again, each time that we read this, we read this, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Each time I hope that there is something new that pops out to you, that speaks to you. Speaking of a fig tree, I just received an email yesterday of this picture. It's from Marcia McPhee, who is the founder of Worship Design Studio, which is where I got this basic idea, the idea of the ladders, right? So she has different things that she sends out as a worship theme, and then pastors then can add their own prayers, their own sermons, add things to it. But it's just wonderful to kind of have that seed germinating. And actually, I'm going out to California for my first conference that I think I've gone to since I've been here, which was 16 years, as Bill reminded me last week. Thank you so much for that beautiful gift. But anyway, so I'll be taking a conference with Marcia McPhee, and I'm just really excited about it, to learn more and more about how she plans worship, and that we can even do more exciting things. But she shared this in a blog yesterday, and she lives in Northern California, and she said this about this picture. She said, when I walk the dog, I pass by this fig tree in my neighborhood. My neighbor is always out tending to her extensive garden. They cut it way back this winter, and now it's beginning to come to life. And she said, I hope you feel deeply that you are good and you are enough. May the fertilizer in your lives be rich, and may you allow yourselves the time to rest and grow. So the truth is that anytime we are nurtured, it takes time, right, and patience. So if we nurture a love for reading with our children and our grandchildren, which I hope we all do, we don't just read to them one time, right? Or read the first quick book we can find, right, and we just go. No, we, every time we're with them, oh, here's some books, right? I have my Aunt Jenny book bag, and so Mark has two grandsons that live really close by. He babysits, and so I will stop over with my Aunt Jenny book bag, and they know when I come in, yay, Aunt Jenny's here, we're going to read books, and so I sit and read books to them, and it takes time, right? So now I walk in and they immediately, will ask for that. So anytime that you have a nurturing thing, if you're going to nurture kindness in your children or in your family, it takes time, example after example of living that, right? So nurturing takes time and patience and knowing what each kind of plant needs for flourishing, right? That's the beauty of living with a gardener, because I would just dump everything all the same and water everything the same and just put them in the sun. They're plants, right? But apparently there are some plants that don't like full sun, right? So there's all these different considerations that each plant has. And we as people have the same type of things. I was thinking, what are some things that help the plants, since we're kind of using this plant analogy? If the right conditions for thriving are not met, how can we ever cure ourselves, right? How can we cure what ails us? And most of us kind of default to that, pull us up by the bootstraps and keep soldiering on type thing. But has that worked before? Maybe it's time to try something different. So I picked some things up at the Dollar Tree. So we have these little Jobs, is that how you say it? Fertilizer spikes, which I've used before. I don't read the directions. I just shove a bunch of them in a plant. Maybe Mark takes some out after I go through. I don't know. But so fertilizer, right, to help things grow. What about that, right? So plants have to have the right temperature outside. You can't throw out, put out some kind of a hibiscus or something, right? Can you? Right now? Depends on what kind. Why is gardening so complicated? So, but you would have to kind of be aware of temperatures, right? Of what things are. And then maybe you also need, if you're me, to read some things about it, right? To read up on these different plants and different things like that. So those are just some quick ideas, right, for the plant analogy that we've been using. So what about you? What about you? If the right conditions for thriving are not met, thriving is impossible. Let me say that again. If the right conditions for thriving are not met, thriving is impossible. So again, that whole idea of repentance as well, right? Being a right relationship with ourselves and with our neighbor. How can we turn that around if that's not happening? So what medicine do you need to help what ails you? Now, I think I can say that, you, to help what ails you, because I'm guessing that each and every one of us, right, whether we're sitting in here, whether we're watching, right, on live stream, each and every one of us has things that we are dealing with in our lives. So I'd like to encourage you to do something we don't normally do here, but I'm asking if you could do that for me. We're just going to take a few minutes, and I would ask if you wouldn't mind to get into just some small groups, 3 or 4, wherever you happen to be sitting, and just take a minute to kind of answer this question. What medicine do we need to help what ails us? Now, I'm going to throw out a couple things in case you're going, I have no idea what she's talking about, right? What are some things, like practical things, like how can we have our soul fed, our spirits, fed, if we are not getting enough sleep, right? If we are not eating well, if we're not getting, vitamin D, all right? So some of those real practical things for our body. But what about other things? Like if we're not spending time in prayer, if we're not out in nature, if we're not helping others, how can we thrive and grow? So I'd love for you, again, if you're watching from home, if you could just type in a few ideas in the chat, it would be great. And I'm going to play one song, so 3 minutes, right? So it won't be 15 minutes, just like 3 minutes. If you could get into some groups and just talk about answering this question, and then I'm just going to go through and ask one representative to just kind of shout out a couple ideas that you had. What medicine do you need to help what ails us, to turn around? Or What feeds your soul? What is it that helps you, that maybe you're not doing right now, or that you are doing, that helps you to have a closer relationship with God, if you don't mind sharing that? So talk amongst yourselves just for a few minutes. If you don't mind, some of you are going to need to move just a little bit. I'm so sorry if you hate this. I don't do this every week, right? And I won't do this every week, all right? So go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. All right. Well, so even if you just sat there talking with your group going, this is so ridiculous, I hate this sort of thing, I still got my way because you were talking with other people, right, in church, sharing your innermost feelings. So yay. All right. So I think that if I walk around with a microphone, I'll make some of you even more upset at me. I'm guessing. So if you don't mind, if there was just a couple things that you want to share, I'll just repeat it for our friends that are hopefully we're chatting. And again, the more that we do this, maybe the more that you'll get comfortable with it. So there's no right or wrong answer. So if yours was bananas, because bananas make you happy and they're good for your body, you know, that, and somebody else's was, you know, intense Bible study, that's okay, right? Because they're all different ideas. So anybody want to share anything that they talked about in their group? And if you want the microphone, I'll come get it to you. All right. Yes, Amanda, Julie, somebody's looking up at me. Time with family? Listening to music. Okay, quiet time in nature. Okay, self-care. Feeling of self-worth, helping others. Healthy relationships. Awesome. So those are all different ways that we can, right, nurture ourselves, nurture our relationship with others. And again, how else are we going to, get stronger and better and all those different things? I don't say better. Stronger like as in, and better, feeling better, right, with our relationship with God, unless we take some time to do those things. All right, so I'm over here, sorry, Mark, so that way then, instead of me repeating, who else has some ideas? That was a nice list. All right, Joe, is Geraldo still on? Because that's what I feel like right now. I've never seen Geraldo in my life. Okay, there we go.
Relaxation and slowing down and smelling the roses, I guess I would say, and she also took my music relaxed me.
Okay, so music.
Piano.
Piano, nice. All right, so taking time to slow down and appreciate things. I mean, how important is that for all these different things, right? Just taking the time to even realize that you're just running on a treadmill and you just aren't living the life that, the living in the moment type thing and relaxing. So thank you. Anybody else? You don't have to have the microphone. Anybody else have anything that they? Bill.
Denise and I and Jim talked about, we think that social media controls the lives of too many people.
Okay. All right. So social media controlling the lives of too many people. Yeah, for sure. Right. Social media, it's an issue. And again, there's some wonderful things about social media, right? For sure. So our friends are, you're able to worship with us today, but yeah, it depends on the amount of time and what what's your priority. Yeah, that I'm going to do that instead of the real relationships in my lives. Yeah. I would agree with you, younger people, but I would also say that I know just as many people all of our ages that have some issues. Yeah. Mark, did anybody have anything on the chat?
Grandkids.
Oh, bringing joy. Okay, perfect. Grandkids, yeah, absolutely. See, now you're all going to go, I'm just going to worship from home because then she doesn't make me do it. I can just, Anybody have any other thoughts they wanted to share? So I hope that you think about that. This idea that we've been talking about today. What is it that you need in your life to be able to fully give yourself to God, right? And sometimes we need to look within ourselves of, I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my health. I need to take care of, getting things organized and all straightened around and, whatever. Or I need to stop beating myself up constantly and constantly feeling ashamed and constantly feeling less than other people or less than what God, that God expects, all these other things. I need to love myself just right now on the rung that I am of my ladder, and I'm going to just grow right here. And I can continue then with God's help. We're going to keep talking about sanctification in and out here each week, but that we can give ourselves the time and the grace that God gives us, that He loves us. So I pray that this was meaningful to you, even if there were just a couple little ideas to really think about this week. Are what are the things that bring me joy, and how can I relate to that? Because if we do, who are we going to be even closer to? God, right? Because God is the one that brings us joy. God has made us the way that we are, that music does relax us, or whatever else speaks to each of us, right? God made us that way. And so God wants us, I believe, to use that as a gateway to get even closer to Him. I wanted to conclude my sermon portion today with just kind of a reminder, which was from last week. I had several people that had mentioned that they kind of enjoyed this quote. But again, this is I'm sure it's not, Margaret did not come up with this on her own, but a pastor friend of mine concludes every prayer that she prays, at least in my hearing, with these words, which again I think are just so powerful and so releasing. We talked quite a bit last week about the Serenity Prayer, and I had several people that contacted me that was just such a nice reminder, that whole prayer. So again, I pray that this is meaningful to you as well. You are in control, we say to God, and we are not. And that should just be a weight off of us, because sometimes we truly do believe, I think, or we act like we are in control. And we just need to remind ourselves that you are God and we are not.